Alina,
This year, not much.
she was going to do something
Less
else
meetings.
outside
Right,
the administration. For Hope Fix and,
Things I'm doing in the community.
Looks like you got plenty of room.
Looking for anything else.
I think Hope Fix is going back.
Was there an off button on there, Mr. Mayor?
There was a cancel,
She's Christopher
and
Newport
I'm
alone.
hoping I didn't cancel the wrong thing,
Seeing you
but it wouldn't
and
turn off.
working in the White House by age
But it did
23.
cancel the override.
How about that?
So it'll be about 50 degrees in here in about 10 minutes.
I can feel it already. I don't
That's
feel
right.
bad, but I'm.
Then we have to uncancel.
That's right.
That's what y'all were.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Lexington City Council meeting for Thursday, November 21st. As is customary, before I call the meeting to order, want to advise everyone of the guidelines for addressing City Council later in the meeting. I ask that you sign up prior to our meeting, and you will be recognized during the citizens' remarks comment section of the council's agenda. During this agenda item, I ask that these guidelines be followed. I ask that you stand at the podium, and for the record, please state your name and if you are a resident of Lexington, Virginia. If you want to be contacted, please provide your contact information to the clerk. Ask that you make your comments to the council as a whole. We ask that you be brief, state your position, and provide facts. Any written statements or supporting materials, please distribute or provide to the clerk for distribution to council and the city manager. Remind everyone that debate is prohibited. This is a time for us to hear from the public and concerns and thoughts on your all's minds. And lastly, I ask that you speak clearly as we want to hear what you have to say. With that, if we have multiple people sign up, we do limit speaking to 3 minutes. If you're representing a group, it is extended to 5 minutes. And I remind us all that the meetings of the Lexington City Council are formal proceedings and are recorded. And with that, again, welcome. I'd like to call the November 21st, 2024 Lexington City Council meeting to order. And the first item of business, if you all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. The next item is consideration of the agenda. I'm not aware of any additions or changes. Unless there's an objection, we will approve the agenda as presented. It is approved. With that, welcome Tracy. Tracy Lyons, the Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for slipping away from business after hours and joining us this evening.
Well, thank you for having me this evening. I'm here to give an update on behalf of the chamber and just to talk a little bit about what we've done this year and what we're looking forward to in 2025. So thank you for having me tonight. I just want to first say thanks for your support throughout the year. I think one of the biggest and most important things for our business community is to see all of you at their businesses, engaged in what they're doing. Don't take for granted just you showing up and telling them thank you for owning a business here and operating a business means a lot. So showing up at business after hours, at a ribbon cutting, just going to shop local and meet the owners, it means a lot. So thank y'all for doing that. I know many of you are engaged in committees, you serve, you come to things. So that means a lot for our business owners and for our chamber itself. So at the chamber, we do a lot of different things and we're asked to do a lot of different things. And so I think it's really important to remember, at the chamber, we are community minded. We're here to gather and bring the community together, the business community together, just to promote a lot of the well-being of the citizens, right? But our goal at the chamber, really, we're committed to enhancing the prosperity of our members and realizing Rockbridge's greatest potential. Our mission is to champion social and economic progress for our community, and our vision is to be your community resource. So a lot of times it is that we are the place people turn when they ask questions, when they want referrals, when they're really just looking to get connected. We do a lot of connections. And so I want want to highlight some things, and this is really kind of how we look at what we do for the year. We have a strategic plan, and in that strategic plan is 3 pillars. And so I'm going to walk through some of the pillars, and within those pillars, we have committees that work underneath them, and that's where a lot of the work gets done in the chamber. We have many volunteers that help us get this work done, and a small staff of 3. But our first pillar, sustaining our region as one community working together. This might be the most important one. They're all important, but this one is really integral, and it really talks a lot about bringing the 3 jurisdictions together. It talks about bringing different, our elected officials with our, higher education institutions, with our nonprofits, and getting them all at the table and letting them have conversations around how can we make things better? How can we all collaborate on an opportunity and move the needle down the road? So we do this a lot. We host monthly economic development meetings, and those are really good for hot topics. We talk a lot about housing and infrastructure. We talk a lot about childcare. We talk about transportation, all the hot buttons that affect our community. And then a lot of those conversation comes collaboration, right? So it's, are we talking about housing? Are we going to host a housing summit? Let's talk more about that. And so the chamber is just there to facilitate the conversations, to help make the connections, and to see where we're going in regards when it comes to economic development and moving that needle down the road. We hold roundtable conversations bi-monthly with our elected officials, and that ranges from it could be school board looking towards the new year. It could be our elected officials at the state level. We've done different elected officials in like fire and rescue and police. So it's a little bit of everyone, just to give our members that kind of opportunity, just have a conversation with our elected officials. State of the Community Breakfast is coming up January 6th in 2025. That is a chance to hear from all 3 localities, as well as our state elected officials, about what's to come. What is happening at the state level that's going to affect us here locally. And that's a good way to kind of kick off the year. Our Economic Outlook Breakfast, we've done that 2 years. We'll host another one this summer. This summer, we're going to be looking at what's Blueprint Virginia. So Blueprint Virginia is a program, an initiative that was started by the state chamber. And all of our local chambers help with the initiative by holding roundtable conversations in our local jurisdictions and giving feedback at the state level to say, what is the outlook? Like, what are we looking for for the next governor? Really, it's a plan that they hand to the next governor, or the governor-elect once he's elected. And it talks all about economic development. It talks about what are opportunities for the state. So this year is going to be an election year for our governor. So we'll host a roundtable conversation around that plan, and we look forward to all of you being there. The Small Business Development Center comes to our office twice a month. I'm amazed at how many meetings they hold with just potential entrepreneurs, our local business owners. They have lots of conversations that are private, so we don't really know what they're talking about unless they pull us into the conversation. But it's just a good opportunity for education, for wellness, that sort of thing, for the business owner. We partner with the Gauntlet Entrepreneurship Program. We also partner with SCCF, which is also a kind of an entrepreneurship fund located in Stanton, but they come down here and host some good meetings for us. In government affairs, we do have a coalition that's on the western side of the state. It's called Virginia West, and it's about 23 chambers that make up from Winchester all the way down to Bristol. And we really we kind of work together as a coalition to really just raise awareness for the western side of the state. So if we have initiatives like I-81 or funding for improvements on 81, us all talking together as one chamber versus 23 chambers makes a bigger impact than just one of us going to the mic and talking, right? So that coalition is really just helpful. If there's ever initiatives that business owners want to bring forward, we're really good at adopting a policy agenda and just supporting best practices for business. I serve on the VACI Board of Directors. That's the Virginia State Board of Directors, which just gives us a good awareness, and just across the state, people know what Lexington is and hear the name Rockbridge because of that, which is nice. We also host Chamber Day at the Capitol. So we attend the Capitol and just give our members an opportunity to talk to our elected officials there. And then we host candidates forums, which many of you have participated in, or maybe all of you have participated in the past. We just held those in October, and we're looking forward to another round this year. Should be good. Cultivating our region as a thriving hub for business. I mean, this is like kind of at the core of what we do. This is our members. This is really making sure our members have the resources they need to have a successful business. This is lunch and learns. This is education. This is one-on-one meetings that we have with a lot of our business owners, just listening to what their needs are and trying to fill those needs. It's making phone calls for them. It's finding grants for them. It's finding places for them to open their business. We do a lot of that, but that's also through connections, right? So business after hours that we hold monthly coffee and conversations. Those are so important for new members to get to meet other business owners that maybe they're not just willing to kind of walk in and meet. So it's kind of fun. Our first Friday speaker series is a summer speaker series where we like to bring a little bit bigger names in for the summer. Tom Barkin's been with us. This last summer, we had a couple other different regional economic development partners that come. This year, we are looking to host in our Ford University presidents again for a president's panel. That one's always really popular, but a really good just opportunity here for some other folks. We host signature events, which are always a great time just to gather, and they also help as fundraisers for the chamber. And then I think just really supporting local business. So shop local campaigns. This year has been a tough year for business, not necessarily business, but small businesses. They've really struggled. We've seen kind of during COVID years, people really rallied around our small businesses. They supported them. They shopped local. We really saw what it meant to be in a small town, and we were fortunate. And even the years that followed, I think people really stuck with that. I think in recent years, we've seen people a little bit going back to what's easier and just having things delivered home and a little bit less of the shop local push. And we say that because normally during high seasons, we would see some peaks. We've just kind of come out of a really high season and we didn't really see a lot of peaks. And so business has been fine. It's been good, but it's been kind of flat. And so we're really working together with Main Street Lexington, Main Street Buena Vista, our tourism bureau even, and just pulling everyone to the table and saying, what can we do? Like, how can we really push this small business, shop local, and making people realize what those dollars mean. When you shop local, this is how much it really means for our local business owners and for our community. So you will continue to see throughout this holiday season a lot of shop local campaigns. I think it's really important for our small businesses just to stay alive and to create this vibrant community that we have. Other things, ribbon cuttings, y'all know lots of things that we do. We do welcome home guides. We also do welcome bags for newcomers to the areas. We create regional maps. We're just kind of a resource. We're not the Tourism Bureau. We love sending people to the Tourism Bureau, but we are kind of sometimes that first line of people are looking to relocate here or to open a business here. And so we serve a little bit of that capacity as well. Our last space, which is where a lot of our time and a lot of my time and energy is spent, is in the workforce arena. And it's really, there's probably not a day that goes on that we don't talk about workforce or talent or education. We have a lot of creative things that we've been doing in this area. Today was the Career Fest at the high school. It's something we helped them start, but something we have kind of handed over and they've run with. Today was amazing. They had 80 something employers there. All of the grades got to come through. Perry McClure even visited. The middle school came by. They were just talking to different people about what a new career could look like, right? So it was more geared towards jobs and after the fact. But we also host a 7th grade career fest, and that is truly for our 7th graders to figure out, like, these are new careers that I've never heard of, and they do hands-on opportunities. We take them to the horse center for a day. So we're excited about that in March. We'll continue that this year, but we're also looking to partner with our schools to do some more in-depth kind of career planning with our 7th graders. So there is some technology that would require them doing some fun things, playing some games ahead of time to talk about career planning and just igniting that passion before they go to Career Fest, and then some things they can use afterwards. So we're excited about that. Hopefully it can come to fruition this year. Other things we do, we partner with our middle schools. We do lots of field trips. We bring speakers in. We do some powwows at the high school with like kind of just lunch jam sessions, introducing them to different opportunities for careers. We're very excited about the new workforce center at the high school. It is going to be just a game changer, I think, for students to see firsthand, to have the opportunities at their fingertips of what they could do, right? So different careers, different trades, that even if they are going on to college, they can still have a trade on the side. And it's something that will help our community in the long term, but also, help them and help them enjoy doing what they love, right? So that is kind of it. I don't want to take too much more of your time. I love to mention who our board of directors are. We have an 18-member board of directors that serve as volunteers for the chamber. We love to have a kind of diverse board in sense of where they serve, where they live, where they're going to next. We have some new members joining the board next year, so we'll have some new kind of, different backgrounds, which would be nice. But this is our board. We are a member of different organizations that give us lots of different resources to utilize and bring to our community. We're proud to have that. And then we just would like to say thank you to our partners. We couldn't do what we do without all of our organizations here. So we work a lot together and we're so thankful for that. Any questions? Anything I missed? But thank y'all for your support. And if there's anything we can help with, we're always happy to be there and just help growing our community.
I'm sure there's nothing that you missed, to be sure. Any questions that council members have? Great presentation and timely and efficient. So thank you for doing so. The key things that I'm particularly want to echo and express appreciation for are the engagement and collaboration that you all harbor amongst organizations like your partners and also amongst the jurisdictions, and set a great example for us to all emulate with that. And one question I had was the welcome bags.
Yeah.
If somebody like City of Lexington, do we put something in, or if a business wants to
Question.
put something in,
They
do we
can
just
come by and drop by. We will be putting together new ones in the new year, but any business is welcome to put anything in the bags. And so they're usually stuffed full with like 50 or 60 different items, coupons, freebies, come see my business, or just welcome to the area.
Right.
There's some stuff in there. I think there's a welcome guide, like how to start a business, that comes from the City of Lexington in the bag,
Very
which is
good.
nice. Yeah.
mark your calendars for January 6th,
Yeah. Good to hear from
2025.
Frank.
And thank you for being with us.
Yeah,
So-
there are some
Oh,
safe
Chuck.
dates there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many members does the chamber have now? And is that trending up or down or?
It's about flat right now. So we had about 82 members join this year, but we lost probably around 70 throughout the year. So a little, I mean, it's good to the good, but we had a lot of businesses close, retire, just kind of walk away, like don't do the business anymore. That we lost a little bit. We've seen some of our small businesses not be able to afford the chamber, and our dues are really low. For a small business, it's $150 to join for the year, and that's it. That includes everything. But all of them many of the conversations are, we're struggling and we're pinching every penny. We're not taking a salary. And so they're just can't afford it.
So total membership number is,
About 450. Yeah.
thanks.
And that includes individuals, that includes large businesses like a Modine or a, Mohawk. So
Top
Yeah,
to
you bet.
bottom. Very good. Thank you again for
you.
being with us.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thank you
hosting
so
Business
much.
After Hours
course. Thanks.
each month, and happy Thanksgiving.
yes, same to y'all. Thank y'all so much.
Next item on the agenda, tough act to follow with the Chamber of Commerce report, but call on Arnie for a public hearing and consideration of application by the City of Lexington.
Good evening to you all. We do have a combination rezoning and conditional use permit for the Evergreen Cemetery. So the request is to rezone a 1.855 acre parcel in Evergreen from R1 to Parks and Open Space, and then to have a conditional use permit be applied to the entire cemetery. So if you could flip over to page 2 of 12, I guess, or 1 of 6 that shows the cemetery location map. You'll see the 5.57 acre parcel that's the existing cemetery for Evergreen that is zoned Parks and Open Space. And as you know, you've already accomplished a boundary line adjustment that added that 1.855 acres to the 5.57 acre parcel. But that 1.855 remains zoned R1 because we had to do that zoning text amendment that you all accomplished. I believe it was in the summer. So now we're ready to go forward and rezone that 1.855 acre parcel to Parks and Open Space, and at the same time affect a conditional use permit for the entire cemetery. We provided you in a combination ordinance, and Jeremy pointed out that that was not correct as far as procedure. So we provided to split that up into 2 individual ordinances. And if I could also make one additional recommendation to you, if you get to the part where we had the suggested motions, instead of for the rezoning in particular, if you would say something to the effect, I move to adopt ordinance 2024-11 to approve a rezoning application, and the rest of it follows as you have there. We do have minutes from the Planning Commission. There's a unanimous recommendation there. I think we only had one person speak at the Planning Commission meeting. And that's all I have for a presentation. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Arnie. Members of council have any questions on what we're looking to accomplish or regarding the cemetery? Hearing none, thank you, sir. This time I'd like to open the public hearing and ask for anyone who would like to speak to this issue. I'm not aware of anyone that's signed up. And seeing no one jumping out of their seats to speak to this, I will close the public hearing at 7:18 and invite council's consideration. And that would come with the recommendation from staff on the recommended motion.
I move to adopt ordinance 2024-11, an ordinance to amend the zoning map of the city of Lexington, Virginia, to rezone the city-owned parcel associated with Evergreen Cemetery to the Parks and Open Space zoning district.
Second.
Did that capture what you were looking for, Arnie? Excellent. Good work. Have a motion, a second, any discussion? Hearing none, ask for a roll call vote. Mr. Betts?
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler?
Aye.
Ms. Strawn?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Alligood?
Aye.
Ms. Alexander?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. We've been after this property for a period of time and getting it rezoned to be part of the cemetery, and look forward to providing that benefit to our community. So thank you all for your tenacity and good work in getting us to this point.
And then will we do the CUP as well? I move to approve CUP 2024-06
Second.
as presented.
Have a motion, and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Mr. Alligood?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler?
Aye.
Mr. Betts?
Aye.
Ms. Strawn?
Aye.
Ms. Alexander?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. And thank you for keeping me on track. 6.2.
Good evening again. Very similar to the last one. There is a request on the location map that you will see on page 17 of your overall packet. That area that has the star over it, that is a point at 0.445 acre parcel that has already been added to tax map number 23-1-160 as part of a boundary line adjustment. And it needs a rezoning again from R1 to Parks and Open Space with an accompanying conditional use permit for the cemetery use. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are any members of council have any questions? Hearing none, I'd like to open the public hearing for item 6.2. And again, have no one who has signed up, and do not see anybody seeking to be recognized to speak. I will close the public hearing at 7:21 and ask for council's thoughtful consideration.
I move to adopt ordinance 2024-12, an ordinance to amend the zoning map of the city of Lexington, Virginia, to rezone the city-owned parcel associated with Oak Grove Cemetery to the Parks and Open Space zoning district.
Second.
Have a motion, and a second, any discussion?
You say 20, what was, you said 2412? I thought it was
Yeah.
24-2.
Well, the ordinance is 24-12, but
Okay.
the zoning ordinance amendment, you're right, is 24-02. But I'm moving to approve the ordinance,
Okay.
adopt the ordinance.
That work for you, Arnie? Have a motion, and a second, roll call vote. Mr. Betts.
Aye.
Ms. Strawn.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mr. Alligood.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Alexander. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. And the CUP.
I move to approve CUP 2024-07 for approval of a conditional use permit to allow cemetery use on all land associated with Oak Grove Cemetery, tax map number 23-1-160 and 29-1-30.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion from council? Roll call vote. Mr. Alligood.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Ms. Strawn.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Betts.
Aye.
Ms. Alexander.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Good work and thank you. Next item is 6.3. Public hearing and consideration of the Maury Service Authority Articles of Incorporation. And I'll call on staff to introduce this.
Thank you, Mayor. Before you this evening is the opportunity to amend the Articles of Incorporation for the Maury Service Authority. Under the agreements, any major project that incurs indebtedness requires the original entities, which includes Rockbridge County, City of Lexington, City of Buena Vista, as well as the MSA Board, to approve any project of this magnitude. The reason why this is being brought forward is there's plans in January for a $4.5 million water line project. MSA is planning to apply to the Virginia Resource Authority for funding for that project. And if we all collectively approve this project, we will collectively save between $90,000 and $95,000 in interest costs. So it's in everybody's interest as ratepayers to approve this. We recommend that we approve this evening. We are working on more global changes to the Articles of Incorporation so that we don't have to go through the step that's before you tonight. Every time we have to bring forward some kind of project, we shouldn't have to amend the Articles of Incorporation. So Mr. Carroll and I have been working with John Dryden and Spencer Suter from the county, as well as Jordan Combs, who's here this evening, if you want to direct any questions to him, to work on those more global changes. But it's in our interest to do this evening because of the almost $100,000 of savings to the ratepayers.
Thank you, sir. Members of council have any questions for the city manager? Hearing none, I would like to open the public hearing and ask for anyone who would like to speak to this item. I have no one who has signed up and no one waving to be recognized. I will close the public hearing at 7:25 and ask for council's consideration.
I move to approve the Articles of Incorporation as presented by the city manager for the Maury Service Authority.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, would ask for a roll call vote. Mr. Alligood,
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Ms. Strong.
Aye.
Mr. Betts.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Alexander.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, and glad to get that accomplished and provide some savings to our friends and neighbors. Next item on the agenda is consideration of minutes. The November 7, 2024 regular council meeting were in your packet. Unless there were any changes or concerns, we will adopt those, approve those as presented. They are approved. Next item, citizens' remarks and comments. Again, I'm not aware of anyone who's signed up, but is there anyone who would like to speak to council this evening? Seeing no one, we'll close the citizens' remarks and comments and go straight to consent agenda. Items 9.1, 9.2, and 9.3 for your consideration, and welcome your consideration.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote. Mr. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Betts, Ms. Strawn,
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mr. Alligood.
Aye.
Ms. Alexander.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you all. Unfinished business. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor. In the packet was a report and a graphic that showed the still under design, best management practice, stormwater ponds that we're locating at Woods Creek. This was the topic of some conversation in October when we had a stormwater, when stormwater was on the work session agenda. And so we had some questions about the design, and I wanted to present to council the BMP pond design as it exists today. And so up on the screen, as well as in your packets, is a copy of the proposed plan for the Woods Creek area. Couple things to point out. This is a combination of what would be considered a retention and a detention pond. A retention pond holds water during a storm event and discharges it slowly. A detention pond usually is always wet and always holds water. This pond is being designed to do both, and that's key for the perceived or for the environmental benefit. Holding the water in the detained portion of the pond, which is dark gray in the graphic up on the screen, allows for pollutants and mostly phosphorus to settle out before the water is discharged to the Wood Creek. And by settling it out, we're able to then come along, maintain and remove that. And that avoids causing those pollutants, those sediments to get into the Woods Creek, ultimately the Maury River as well. So this is the plan as it exists today. Council not necessarily asking for any action this evening, but if you have any feedback you wanted to provide, I'd welcome that. We still are, as I said, in the design phase. There had been some discussion about whether this needs to be fenced off or otherwise blocked for safety reasons. Staff doesn't feel that that's necessary. Having said all that, we do know that children play in this area, are constantly going to and from school in this neighborhood. So if you feel differently, would like that direction. So as we prepare to put this project out to bid, that we have that clarification.
On the, I guess, the rendering in the packet, it says up to 4 feet, right? And is that normal? I guess, and what I mean is that like on a standard day versus when it rains? Because you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, there would be a portion of that gray area, which would be 4 feet in depth. It would be the center of the pond.
Okay.
It's not like a pool where it's cut out. It tapers down into the highest maximum depth of 4 feet. So most of the pond is not 4 feet. Most of what would be detaining water every day is not 4 feet.
Could the water be over 4 feet?
Only during a storm event when water is being retained in the pond, it would go over 4 feet and then would be discharged slowly over the next day or so.
In terms of the fencing, if there was fencing, I guess how much fencing would there need to be? I guess if there was.
So I think the fencing would probably have to be around the entire perimeter of the area, not just the gray area, but the entire best management practice. Because if we put a fence over just the 2 gray areas, that would start to interfere with the effectiveness of the detention and retention pond itself. So I would think that the fencing would be substantial, a substantial amount of material and a substantial visual impact.
I think it was mentioned somewhere that other structures like this and other places don't have fences around them. Is it pretty common that they don't have fences, or is it I guess what's kind of the standard practice? Is the standard practice to fence or not to fence?
I don't think there's a standard practice. I think it depends on the design decisions that are made. I've seen it both ways. I don't have any data to share that I think this is more common or not at all common, but I see it when I drive around other areas, when I observe these, when I've designed or been involved in the design and building of these types of facilities. I've seen them both ways. I tend to think that they're better without fencing unless you need to put in fencing from a safety standpoint. I think in this context, we don't need it. Obviously, we want to keep everyone safe, but I don't think it's necessary in this instance.
Thanks.
And I recall the either designer, engineer, whomever that was presenting this with Patrick saying that fence was not required by DEQ. So for, I think, best practices, it's as is, so it can flow, the water can flow and get cleaned up. I just look at, I have a hard time understanding what this is and what it will look like in the park. And I think the concern that was raised at the time was, are we creating mosquito farms? And if that's the case, I'm anti-mosquito. I'll go on record as saying, but I don't know how you merge the two, if there's some type of way to move the water or something of that nature. But that's my greater concern. I perceive from this diagram that I don't fully understand, it'll be very gradual and sloping, and it almost lends itself to being like this now because water collects there when it rains. It'll just be more effective getting the water into the stream clean.
So I have 3 of these in proximity to where I live. There's one on Wills Road that is huge. and it doesn't have a fence around it. And when it's full, it's when it's pouring down rain, and nobody would be out there anyway. And after that, when it's dry, it's used as a soccer field. For the neighborhood kids. There's another one at the entrance of Thompson's Knoll. And the intent behind that one was to make sure that it had like a natural effect to it with the plantings that they have in there. I've never even seen any water in that one. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen. I just haven't seen it. And then there's another one in Richardson Park. And it got there was a lot of controversy about that one in the beginning. It was also open, I believe, but they planted a lot of greenery around that to the point now it's overgrown. And I understand that Public Works is going to clean that out some. But they've not been a problem. But on the other hand, in the city, the building code requires that if you have a swimming pool in your yard, you have to have fencing around it. So I don't know where we go with this, but just want to throw it out there.
Yeah, and to Marilyn's point, I think everything we've had, I can't think of any detention ponds. We have retention ponds. And I don't, in Kendall, I looked at their pond and it's a retention pond as well. It doesn't hold water. So it is the fact that Frank mentioned about mosquitoes and safety issue, having a detention pond versus a retention pond. And actually at Richardson Park, it was holding water for a while. And we had the engineer change out the soil, improve the soil so it would drain a little bit better. So you didn't get that constant wetness.
But
So
now you can't even see whether it's anything in there or not.
yeah, right.
Clean it. Yeah.
But I would agree with the concerns stated. It's almost more about the mosquitoes, but I do also having a 4-foot pit is a bit of a safety issue. Even the one at the community center at Wilbur Downing is dry as a retention pond. So it's dry, but they got to the point where they try to keep the kids away from it altogether. And that is the sledding hill. And next to a park. On the showing the sloping and where like the emergency, I guess it's spillway is that grading already there, or they're gonna have to regrade all that?
There's going to be some regrading, yes. This is essentially going to be scouring out. If you imagine this as kind of a bowl where you're scouring out, and there's going to be substantial moving of earth in order to get the grade to match what's on the plan.
Silly question, but did they do any boring to find out how deep the dirt is? They did? Okay.
You did? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was orange.
Otherwise, it's hard to move rock. Curiosity, what are the white rectangles representing?
I don't know. We'll find out and report
Okay.
back.
Fair enough. Sorry about that. Yeah. Curiosity is a terrible disease. Yeah, they're right there and there. But thank you for bringing this forward. Any other questions that council has?
No, just if we can get clarity on that, how you prevent those issues.
Right. Terrific. Terrific. All right. Next item on the agenda, reports and commissions, Blue Ridge Resource Authority. Mr. Smith.
Nothing to report, but just wanted to note, I don't know if I mentioned this in previous reports or not, but we've contracted out our leachate hauling. And now we're diverting some of that to Univista waste treatment to save in some transportation costs. So we're working as hard as we can to keep our expense numbers as minimal as possible. That's all I had to share.
Is the rest of it still going to
Yeah,
the
MSA.
Okay.
And we're having a reasonable experience this year of leachate. We hadn't had an abundance of rain, so leachate hasn't been as substantial. Main Street Lexington, Mr. Smith.
Here we go. The courthouse grounds project is getting close to the finish line. It's received approval from stakeholders, the county, advisory committee, various veterans organization support of the project. Main funding is hopefully coming from Virginia 250th Preservation Fund. We'll know about, or the committees will know more about that next month. Final proposal will be presented to the ARB on December 5th. And the presentation is being prepared for our meeting council on the 19th. Hopefully the project will start in early 2025. Second, great response to the new format of the Shop Small sweepstakes, formerly known as Love Lex Lotto. So far, the shop owners and customers are both enjoying the change in format. This is running through the 21st of next month. Online holiday gift guide is up. Both promotions are part of the Shop Small campaign, which was launched earlier this month instead of waiting for Small Business Saturday. As you all know, candlelight processional tree lighting next Friday, the 29th, Christmas parade the following Friday, the 6th. Jingle Bell Run and Walk on the 7th, Saturday. Registration is available online, and late shopping will take place on December 12th with Dickens carolers strolling downtown, and a holiday church open house for Friday the 20th. That's all I have.
Fun-filled season. Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Always.
Any questions? Maury Service Authority, Mr. Alligood.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Maury Service Authority Articles of Incorporation that we approved tonight, once Buena Vista and Rockbridge County do likewise, the MSA will be ready to enter into an agreement to borrow the $4.5 million for our upcoming projects. So things are moving ahead that way. And we have a board meeting next Tuesday, the 26th to discuss these things and others at the water treatment plant on Osage Lane. End of report.
Thanks, sir. Any questions for Mr. Alligood? I got a nod from the audience that Buena Vista approves the information this evening as well. So we're 2/3 of the way there.
Very good.
Excellent. Planning Commission, Ms. Strong.
Planning Commission met last Thursday and we continued our discussion of cottage housing. And we've gotten to a point where we should have a draft ready to review at our December meeting. We won't meet next week since it's Thanksgiving. Also at our December meeting, we'll have a CUP for the Bank of the James building. That's all I have.
Terrific. Well, glad to hear you're not meeting next Thursday.
Yes, we do.
The concern as to who's cooking the turkey. Any questions for Ms. Strong? Thank you for your good work on the Planning Commission. Tourism Board, Mr. Betts.
The Rockbridge Area Tourism Event Sponsorship Application process is currently open for requests for events in Lexington, Buena Vista, and Rockbridge County that will occur between January 1st, 2025 and January 30th, 2025. Requests will be considered for up to $3,000 per event, and there will be a total of up to $10,000 awarded for the 6-month time period. However, there is no guarantee that all applications will receive funding or that the maximum amount of $10,000 total will be awarded during this round. The Rockbridge Regional Tourism Board will make awards based on the strength of each application. The strength of the application will be based on the factors such as the event's potential to attract out-of-town visitors and how well the application aligns with the regional tourism's goals and objectives. The deadline to submit a complete application for this round of sponsorship funding is December 1st, 2024. The awards will be announced Friday, December 20th, 2024, and the funding for successful applications will be distributed during the first week of January 2025. Visitor Center lease negotiations. We are still in the process of lease negotiations for the current Visitor Center space in Lexington and for a new space for the Visitor Center in Buena Vista.
Vendor report. Very good. Any questions for Mr. Betts? Nick, any updates on the property I trust is still for sale? Has it changed hands? Do you know?
As far as I know, I don't know of any change in the ownership of the, you're talking about. for
Right
the
speed.
Yeah, I don't know of any change in the ownership.
Thank you, sir. Raro, Mr. Ziegler. No report. Threshold, Ms. Alexander.
No report, no meeting next week,
Ah.
next Wednesday, no meeting.
Very good. Thanksgiving Eve taking off.
Yes.
Good work. Good
Cooking
work.
day.
Excellent. Excellent. I've got just a couple of items for the good of the cause, as it were. First and foremost, wanted to acknowledge the good work of Joseph Haney. He is not with us tonight, and we have Scotty, a Fighting Blue from originally from Buena Vista, filling in and covering our meeting tonight. So, Scotty, welcome, and glad you're here and doing the business for News Gazette. Katie Pogue, I neglected to bring her name forward for the EDA, and I'm excited. She will be the first new name brought forward for the EDA since we changed the name at the last one. And I'd like to offer her name for your consideration to fulfill the unexpired term that is vacant and will expire May 1st of 2027.
I move to appoint Katie Pogue to the EDA.
Terrific.
Second.
Have a motion, a second. Any discussion? None? Oh. Some furrowed brows down there. Roll call vote. Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Ms. Strong.
Aye.
Mr. Alligood.
Aye.
Mr. Betts.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Alexander.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you all very much. Yay. Been a long time in coming. Good work. Good work. And a very talented EDA, I'll say. Very excited about the diversity and the brain power in that group. So I look forward to the good work they'll do. With the election behind us and looking to the future, one of the things that I've always been very proud of this council and our community is being able to collaborate, work together, and continue to focus on positive attributes. One of the former IDA members, Liz Ramsey, who was my teacher at Lexington High School many moons ago, had shared a post on Facebook that wanted to share for the good of the cause. And it is from I think, a Methodist clergy that wrote this. And I encourage you to listen and absorb. I'll be holding doors open for strangers, being kind to my neighbors, letting people cut in front of me in traffic, saying good morning, keeping babies entertained in grocery lines, stopping to talk to anyone who seems lonely, being patient with waiters and sales clerks, helping the homeless, smiling at people who pass by. Why? Because I will not stand idly by and live in a world where love is invisible. Join me in showing compassion, acceptance, understanding, and in judging less. Be kind to strangers, give grace to friends who are having a bad day. Be forgiving of yourself. Today and every day, be the change, be the light. Start today and never stop. Found those words to be inspiring and thoughtful as we embrace the season of Thanksgiving and the year ahead. I also wanted to alert you that the city manager and finance director and I met with Davenport, our financial advisor, regarding the bond offering that we're planning, a bond rating and subsequent offering after the first of the year. The rating likely will take place in December, and to assist and staff with the process, want to appoint for this effort David and Leslie as an ad hoc committee to work to review the documents and work with staff as we navigate the
Process.
Thank you. Exactly. The bond rating process, it's fairly fascinating. We've got S&P and Moody's that we'll be meeting with. I think it's scheduled for December 9th from about 1 until 5 that day. So Thank you in advance for your support of staff in the process and representing the city with that endeavor as we prepare. And lastly, just to encourage you to get good rest. January is shaping up to be very busy between work sessions, retreats, and other things associated with the start of the new year. So look forward to finishing out the year strong and doing the work of our friends and neighbors. And with that, I will turn it over to the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder that city offices will be closed next Thursday and Friday for the Thanksgiving holiday. Obviously, our public safety and some public works and personnel will be working their normal schedules even on the holidays. This closing, of course, means that your December 5th packet for your next council meeting will come out a little bit early, probably early in the week. That just gives you one more thing to be thankful for this year, that you'll have some extra time to review the packet. On behalf of my coworkers with the city, I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to mayor and council and the community. We really enjoy serving here. Earlier this week, we completed the 4 listening sessions on the stormwater. We had about 4 or 5 people come to each of them, which was, I thought, a decent turnout at each of them. We have some additional meetings scheduled with our largest property owners in the month of December. Thanks to Janie for setting those up. That's no small feat to navigate and manage many people's schedules. So I just wanted to recognize her for that. The plan still is to bring forward legislation for you on December 19th. And that will be what we anticipate doing even as we continue to talk to these larger property owners. Working with jointly with Buena Vista and Rockbridge County, we're hoping to schedule a joint work session for the 3 governing bodies in late January or early February. This was the meeting that we had scheduled for December 12th. But as you may know from the weekly reports, the bidding schedule has slid back for the DSS building. And so we hope to get a firm date for all 3 governing bodies, again, late January or early February. At that meeting, we hope to have all 3 governing bodies award the contract for the DSS project. We also plan to invite RARO to come to that meeting and talk about some of their vision for the future. And that would be something that all 3 governing bodies could benefit from hearing. And then I was going to mention the Davenport bond call, but don't be too jealous of Councilman Sigler and Councilmember Strawn. We plan on having individual meetings with every member of council to go over the bond documents in December or January. Janie will be reaching out to schedule those with you in the near term, just so that you have a good understanding of the overall program. Today, I've laid out a schedule for the next, say, 3 months that really includes the Davenport call legislation that'll be in front of you for your next meeting, December 5th, to authorize and notify the Attorney General for the Commonwealth of Virginia that we're moving the Office of the Registrar to 300 Diamond. There's just a lot of steps that we need to take for the upcoming bidding of the projects, finishing the design, issuing the bonds, notifying the public, and moving facilities in the next 3 months. So this is all, the bond presentation is all going to be part of that overall program. So again, we'll try and keep that brief to insensitivity to your time, but we can go into great depth about the bond financing. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions for the city manager? Hearing none. City attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few items just to bring you up to date on some things I've been working on over the last couple of weeks. I've been working with Tom some on the swing space lease that I guess has proceeded to the point of almost finalization. Yeah. Worked with Arnie some on some zoning issues. I think that might be the CUP that you were talking about, Leslie, coming forward here shortly. Nick, I did get an email today from Ms. Wagner about leases associated with tourism. So I'll be coordinating with her. She wanted to set up a Zoom, so we'll try to do that to talk about what exactly her needs are. So be working on that. Talked with Chief Dickerson and Tom about the sprinkler incentive program City Council wants to set up. And we've talked about some of the documents we'll want to prepare for that and some of the eligibility criteria that'll need to be established so that we can figure out how to implement that program to meet your preferences. And then lastly, I've been working with John Dryden a little bit here in the last couple of days. He contacted me based on the sheriff's retirement and the need to establish a special election to elect a replacement for him. So we'll be working and coordinating with the county about that over the next couple of weeks. And eventually a resolution will be before you to authorize the two of us to go forward. You'll authorize me, and board supervisors will authorize John to go forward and petition the court to establish a date for the special election. But we'll be getting back in touch with you about that.
Very good.
Happy to answer any questions you may have.
I did,
Go ahead, ma'am.
I do know that there are people inquiring already about that position and when the election would be. So people are waiting with bated breath.
Okay. We will definitely get it. It's an interesting situation because obviously it's a constitutional officer that applies to both localities. So there does need to be some coordination about dates of preference, and obviously that's something. There are a lot of schools of thought on when to hold a special election to save costs, maximize voter participation, things like that.
On the tourism leases, on the one that we do have right now, I found a couple provisions that I thought were not in our favor. So I'd be
Sure.
happy to talk with you. if you-
Absolutely, yeah. She emailed me today the existing leases, which are, I don't know if they've presented with a new lease yet or not, or where that stands. So I'll talk to her and then I'll reach out to you, Nick, after I speak with her and see what your thoughts are.
That sounds good. My understanding is the one for the Lexington Visitor Center. I think we're drafting it.
Okay.
I think,
Okay.
and then the one for Buena Vista, there is a draft. And I have some comments I would talk to you about when you have a chance. Yeah.
Very good. Any other questions? Not aware of any new business, and we do not have a closed session scheduled for this evening. But before we close, I just want to extend appreciation to our network in the community. That's our conduit for communicating with our friends and neighbors. The Advocate and the News Gazette, who both do a great job of coverage and keeping our neighbors informed in print. Wanted to say thank you to staff and the whole team that serves our community and makes Lexington tick. And lastly, we all have challenges and struggles, but we all have much to be thankful. So happy Thanksgiving. Hope next week everyone embraces Thursday with the spirit of gratitude and joy. With that, unless there's an objection,